In this lecture, our discussion will be on the finite element method, a basic introduction to FEM, major steps involved in FEM, and finally the formulation of stiffness matrix for a one-dimensional bar element will be discussed. Introduction to finite element method. The finite element method, commonly referred as FEM, is a numerical method for solving problems in engineering and mathematical physics. Problems in engineering and computational physics are often formulated as either ordinary or partial differential equations. Other than some of the standard equations that we study in elementary mathematical courses such as separable equations, exact equations, wave equation, heat equation, etc., differential equations in general are not susceptible to solution by conventional mathematical methods. FEM is one of the numerical methods that allows formulation of the differential equations as systems of algebraic equations, so that these equations can be efficiently solved using computers. In FEM, instead of solving the problems for the entire body in one operation, the body is divided into equivalent system of smaller units called finite elements. These smaller units are interconnected at points common to two or more elements. These interconnections are called nodes. The equations will be formulated for each finite element and then they are combined to obtain the solution of the entire body. FEM is employed for structural problems as well as non-structural problems. Structural problems are mainly structural stress analysis problems, and non-structural problems involve heat transfer and fluid mechanics problems. Typical applications of FEMs are mainly stress analysis, including truss and frame analysis, then buckling, vibration analysis. Then non-structural problems include heat transfer, fluid flow, distribution of electric or magnetic potential, etc. Computer programs used for FEM can be classified into special purpose codes and general purpose programs. Special purpose programs are codes prepared for specific problems, hence they are mainly used in research and academic fields. General purpose programs are mainly commercial software packages that can be used to solve a wide range of problems without any major modification of the computer code. Few commonly used general purpose FEM packages are listed here. Now we discuss general steps involved in finite element method. These are: first step is discretization, second is selection of displacement function, third is definition of strain displacement and stress strain relationships, fourth one is derivation of the element stiffness matrix and equations, fifth one is assembling the element stiffness matrix element equations to obtain global or total equations and to introduce boundary conditions. The sixth steps involve solving for the unknown degree of freedom. In structural mechanics problems, we have generalized displacements. So we have to solve for displacements. Solve for element strains and stresses. Once we obtain the displacement in the sixth step, we are going for solving for strains and stresses in the seventh step. Eighth step is interpretation of results. So these are the general steps of a finite element method. We are going to see them in detail. Discretization of the structure. Discretization involves dividing the body into an equivalent system of finite element with associated nodes. Depending upon the nature of the problem, the total number of elements to be used, their variation size and type are to be chosen appropriately. The size of the element and variation of size is decided as a trade-off between the required accuracy of the result and the computational effort. Generally, the smaller element size, the more accurate will be the result. However, when the element size is small, we need to have large number of elements to cover the entire body, and hence computational effort will increase. In usual practice, small elements are generally desirable where results are changing rapidly, such as where changes in geometry occur. Large elements can be used where results are relatively constant. For example, for the knuckle joint shown in the figure, regions with relatively high stresses are mapped with red, and relatively stress-free regions are shown in blue. Those regions with sudden geometry changes are accompanied by rapid variation of stress values. The analyst or engineer who is carrying out this type of analysis should use smaller and finer element in those regions where rapid variation of the results are expected. Next comes the selection of element types. The type of element is chosen based on the physical makeup of the problem. If the problem is in hand can be idealized by one-dimensional model, a 1D element should be chosen. Otherwise, a 2D or 3D element may be necessary. Now, let us see the selection of element type. We have 1D, 2D and 3D element for appropriate problems. The one-dimensional element, primarily the line element, consists of bar and beam elements. These elements are often used to model trusses and frame structures. The simplest line element, called linear line element, has two nodes, one at each end. Although higher order element having 3 nodes or more also exist. So these are higher order element. This is a simple linear element. The left figure shows a simple 2-noded line element which is also called a linear element, while the right one shows 3-noded second order line element also called a quadratic element. So this is linear and this is quadratic. Similarly, we have more number of nodes, we can have higher order elements such as cubic elements, etc. A cubic element or cubic line element will have 4 nodes. So if n is the number of nodes, then n minus 1 will be the order of that element. For example, in case of a linear element, that is a first order. We have 2 nodes. If n is equal to 2, then for linear element that is n minus 1. For quadratic element we have 3 nodes. So 3 minus 1, 2. So the order of the element will be 2. Similarly, for a cubic element, there will be 4 nodes and order of the element will be 3. The basic 2D elements are loaded by forces in their own plane. So they are very helpful in modeling plane stress or plane strain problems. They are either triangular elements or quadrilateral elements. So these are triangular elements or it can be quadrilateral elements. The simplest 2D element have coordinate nodes only. So this is a simple element. We have only coordinate nodes. So this is a simple quadrilateral element. It has also only have coordinate nodes only. Higher order elements are typically with the mid-side nodes. So we have a side node. This is a higher order element or a quadratic element. So it has a side node. It has 3 additional side nodes. Then sometimes this side may be curved also. Similarly, for quadrilateral higher order elements also we have a mid-side nodes. And it can have curved edges also. The most common 3D elements are tetrahedral or hexahedral elements. The basic 3-dimensional elements have coordinate nodes only. So this is a basic 3-dimensional element. We have only coordinate nodes. This is a basic hexahedral element. It has also have coordinate nodes only. Higher order elements have mid-edge nodes. So this is a higher order element. It has mid-edge nodes. Sometimes, in some cases, it may have mid-face nodes also. also might have a curved surfaces for their sides. Axisymmetric element can be used when the geometry and loading of the problem are axisymmetric. Next, selection of displacement function. As pointed out earlier, FEM is not an exact mathematical method. Rather, it is an approximate numerical method. Solution of the structural analysis problem involve determination of stresses and strains at various points within the body or the structure. Determination of strain in terms involve calculation of displacements. So displacements are the primary unknowns in a structural analysis problem. Hence, an important step in FEM is selecting a mathematical function which approximates the displacement within an element. The function is defined within the element using nodal values of the element. The same general displacement function can be used repeatedly for each element. Linear, quadratic and cubic polynomials are frequently used as functions. For a two-dimensional element, displacement function is a function of coordinates in its plane. So it will be a function of x and y coordinate directions. In FEM, a continuous quantity such as the displacement throughout the body is approximated by a set of piecewise continuous functions defined within each element. That means in FEM, while getting the solution, so we are getting the displacements as the solution. So for getting that solution, initially we have to approximate some functional form for this displacement. This is the same thing I have just discussed. The next step involves definition of the strain displacement and stress strain relationship. The strain displacement relation and stress strain relationships are necessary for deriving the equations for each finite element. In case of a one-dimensional deformation, say in x direction, we have strain epsilon x is equal to d by dx of u, where u is the displacement function. The stresses and strains are related through stress-strain law, generally called constitutive law. The simplest stress-strain law is Hooke's law, which is given by sigma x equal to E into epsilon x.